So if you're under 35 and you're trying to buy a house in Australia right now, you're getting absolutely rinsed, right? House prices are just cooked. Old mate Keith down the road's trying to sell his ex-meth pad for $1 million. And the whole of Australia just seems to have this one train of thought where you can only really build wealth in property. And that's all we've ever known is property, property, property. Well, today I'm going to show you why that's bullshit and how you can actually end up like a lot wealthier by simply renting where you want to live and investing in the entire world at the same time. Now, I've personally gone through this scenario myself. Before I was 30, I worked FIFO and I still do work FIFO. So I managed to save a deposit to build a house. I built the house on land package about 3 years ago, and everything exploded pretty much after the house had been finished built and I moved in. But I recently sold my house and now I've gone back to renting. Okay, this is a rental. I have sold my house and I'm in a rental. Reasons I did this. Okay, let me tell you, I went back and forth with so many different AIs using different codes and like parameters and whatnot to like fine tune my decision. Okay, I have deliberated over this for many, many months and I made the decision to sell. So when you have a house, you have to put in a lot of money up front and also pay a lot of money to hold and maintain this house, right? That's a thing called opportunity cost, where that money that you had to put into the house, right, could have been put into a different asset that could have maybe grown more or be more liquid or be more diversified, right? Because property is only one single plot of land in one street, in one suburb, in one city, in one country. So when you have a house, it's not just the mortgage repayments that you have to pay. You also have to pay stamp duty, right? Which is a big upfront cost. It's just gone, deleted, see you later, straight to the government. You never get that back. It's not growing anywhere. It's gone, right? For example, on a $700,000, $800,000 house, stamp duty is about $30,000. Just gone, poof. And over 10 years, 15 years in the stock market, that turns into about $180,000. So you're just throwing away 180 grand. Okay, that's the power of compound interest. Anyways, we're going to get into that, right? So you also have land tax and water rates. If it's an apartment, you also have strata. The average strata here in Perth is about $4,000 a year on top of your mortgage repayments. Then you also have to have property insurance, which was about $100 a month, maintenance, and there are some other like just random costs that come up. So here's an example for the average person looking to buy a house today. You're probably looking at about an $800,000 house. Upfront cash is a 20% deposit plus the stamp duty. You're looking at about $200K instantly put into the house. Well, $30K of the stamp duty is pretty much deleted, gone forever to the government, which is an opportunity cost that could have been invested. Plus you have other fees like illegal fees, rent and pest inspections, other small fees would like come into buying a house. And then you have the ongoing monthly costs of about $5,000 a month. Now this is everything from the mortgage repayments to the land tax to insurance to water tax, maintenance, sort of all bundled into one payment here, just averaged out over the month. And let's say you have $1,000 spare to invest. On the other side, you have just the renting where you just have rent to pay. That's it. Therefore, you have a lot more to invest each month. With the growth of the share portfolio that I will be demonstrating in this video, you can see that there is quite a big difference in the end result. Stamp duty for an $800,000 house is about $32,000, right? If you were to put $32,000 to a simple broad index fund in the stock market over 15 years, no additional contributions, it's semi-annually compounding because, you know, index usually pay dividends about twice a year, you would end up with $138,000. So you're throwing away $138,000 in potential additional money, right? If you just go for a return rate of 12%, $183,000 you're throwing away. And you might be asking, but how are you getting 12% return in the stock market? Well, if you didn't know, there is a moderately geared or leveraged version of the entire global stock market. When you buy a fund like this, it's called GHHF. It literally invests in the entire world. You can scroll down and see Right here, United States makes up 40% of this fund. 37% of it is Australia. So for example, the top companies in this section of the pie would be like Apple, Tesla, Microsoft. The top companies in this sort of section would be like your BHP, your Combanks. But it makes up, there's like 4,000 companies in this fund, right? And what they do is they add a very moderate 30 to 40%, or I think it's a 1.5 times leverage to this fund. Now, as you can see, since inception, it's done 16.14%, right? So that's immediately better than the 12%. But in investing, we have to take averages. Nobody knows the future for property, for real estate, for anything. Nobody can predict, like, nobody has a crystal ball, right? So we simply just take the average return from past performance. So the benefit of this is you get to live in a place that you actually want to live. You get to live in a nice suburb that you want to live in, because trying to buy in that suburb is generally going to be a lot more expensive than just simply renting it. And that means you have a lot of spare cash flow on hand. You have no big debt, which makes you more flexible. You have no amount of money tied up into an illiquid asset such as a real estate. You're more mobile and versatile. In 10 to 12 years time, you'll have like complete freedom, probably to quit work or just buy your dream house in cash. So I plan to be basically work optional by the time I'm 40, if not sooner, at the rate of my portfolio growth, with this lump sum being invested plus consistent contributions with my system that I just set up using Perla because it's simple, comes straight from my bank account into my setup portfolio that I've designated for each percentage, and it'll just keep investing automatically. So in my opinion, for most young people today, I would forget about trying to buy a house and instead be looking to invest in the global share market, especially if you can handle the volatility. These are geared ETFs by BetaShares because they are incredible products. Invest aggressively today and thank yourself in 10 years' time. Drop a like if this made you think differently about, the real estate market, property in general in Australia. Comment rent best if you're considering it, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research. This information is educational and informational only.